wide and something that I think will be a great place for us to start, and that is your beginning. Where does your songwriting story start? And I'll start with Mr. Bill.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter what form of the business that you're in. You have to learn the business of music. That's the first thing that you do, and you find your lane within that structure, and you learn all of the pitfalls and the accolations and everything that go with it, and you find out if that's really what you want to do and follow your dream. It's not an easy business because it's highly competitive, but it's a good business. And if you stick with it and follow that dream and have the right work ethics, you can make it happen. So don't let anybody spoil your dream or fade your dream from you, because if you can perceive it, you can achieve it.
Mr. Bell, was there a moment that you remember knowing that you wanted to become a songwriter? Did someone push you into wanting to compose your own songs?
Yeah, it's always easier if you're a creative person, if you can compose your own works, because you have a personal interest in that and a personal expertise in whatever the subject matter is that you're writing about. It's also, it puts a responsibility on you that you have to put your best effort out there and really learn how to communicate with your fan base, your audience, and the rest of the industry people, because you have to know where you're going as an artist, whether you're a writer, performer, or whatever. And you have to learn the business so that you have other people out there that you're going to have to work with to help you achieve your dreams. So you're going to have to learn to express yourself and expect them to learn what ideas that you have about your career that you want to accomplish, and so that everybody's on the same page, so that you have to learn the business of the music, whether you're a songwriter or whatever, and don't be afraid of work, because it's highly competitive and it's not going to be easy. People talk about overnight success. I'm one that can tell you there is no such thing as overnight success. And when you get there, then you're competing with yourself. So you're only as good as your last performance. So you have to understand that and always do the best effort that you can.
All right now, I like that. Ms. Parker, do you remember where your songwriting story began?
Yes, and we don't have enough time for me to tell you. However, by the time I was in high school, I determined that I wanted to be in the business of music, only I wanted to be a star. I wanted to sound like Gladys Knight, and I wanted to move across that stage like Tina Turner. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and actually my writing songs was by accident, because I didn't grow up in Memphis, Tennessee. But when I moved to Memphis, it provided an opportunity for me to become a part of an organization whose artists I was hearing on the radio station. And our Glee Club teacher decided that we should enter a talent contest. I was the lead singer for an all-male group. And we won first prize. And first prize was an opportunity to audition for Stax Records. And this is when Stax Records was in its infancy. It only had the Marquis, Booker T and the MGs, Carla and Rufus Thomas at that time, if I remember correctly. And when Jim Stewart auditioned us, he said, well, you've got potential. And then the next statement they made was, but you know, if you're going to sign up here to be recording artists, you've got to have original material. At which point I looked at the guys in the group and they looked at me and we didn't, act as if we weren't really clear about what original material was. We just kept our cool. And he said, "Do you have an original song?" And I said, "No, but we'll get one." And so I went home and wrote the first song that I'd ever written in my life. And it was a regional hit. So we went back to Jim and we said, "Okay, this is what we got." And he was very impressed with it. And I don't know if he was as impressed as he was desperate to get another song on the market, but nevertheless, that is how my songwriting really started. It was a challenge. It was out of necessity. So,
Thank you.
I'm excited for Tiana to share because
Co-writing is a very personal thing because you have to find the person that number one to co-write with you that has the same interest, the same personality per se, and also have the same experiences in life. And then you have to, not only that, you have to kind of perceptively get into each other's mind, because when Booker and I started writing, of course, our families went to the same church, and he was a church organist. I was an only child. My first couple of songs I wrote by myself with my vocal group. But I was always a dreamer, and being an only child for 10 years, I didn't have a lot of friends because I was kind of a loner. And that was a way of me getting my personal feelings out, even at that young age. I think I wrote my first song actually when I was about 9 years old. And I was singing in church and this song came to me, and I was with a vocal group at the time, so I didn't record it at that particular moment, but I did write the song because Sam Cooke was one of my heroes with the Soul Stirrers, and I would always listen to how he wrote a song and how he expressed the song. And so I had the opportunity as a vocal group to get with Booker. Jim had Jim Stewart from Stax. He was a really intuitive man, very clever. He would combine musicianship with people that were able to really do lyrical stuff. And he combined me and Booker together to write together, which was great because we went to the same high school, we went to the same church, and we had done some things together around town in the little local music circle. And so it all clicked. But Booker and I, even today, our expressive quality is pretty much one and the same. He would look at me sometimes and I could see what he was I knew the chord that he was gonna play, or he knew the lyric that I would write to a certain passage in a song. And that's very rare, so you have to get into each other as a co-writer. Isaac Hayes and David, same way. Homer Banks, Betty Pritchard, all of those co-writers, Deanie, when she co-wrote with somebody, you had to envision one mind, and that had to be focused on the same subject matter, and it helps if you are from the same neighborhoods like we were, because you have the same environment, upbringing, and all that. But it's important that you combine those kind of people to co-write if you want to have a good cohesive song. Some of my basic songs, I guess you would say the ones that we excelled in, like Born Under a Bad Sign, Every Day Will Be Like a Holiday, I Forgot to Be Your Lover, all those things. Sometimes I would have an idea, some lyrical ideas, and on some of the stuff. I play a little piano enough and know enough music theory to come up with the chord structure, but Booker would put the impact on it. So I'd give him the basic chords and he would expound on them. So when you're co-writing, you have to look at people that have the same interests that you have and the same creative mind that you have. That's very important to get that song that just gels and that you can express it to a mass audience. Because when you're writing a song, you sometimes write it introvertedly, but most of the time you want to write for the masses, and you got to write something, an idea that the masses will identify with. It's important to me for a person to come up to me and say, I could have written that song because that's my life, or I got married because of that song of yours. Because that way I know that I have reached my goal in coming up with something of one of my experiences, or something that, even if it's a hypothetical situation, I just write about it for a mass audience, and something that lyrically they don't have to wonder about what I'm thinking, because I'm writing so deep that I write it to where it's explainable. One sentence or one line will explain the whole song. And that's important too. So I think that when you create, you have to get that same kind of...
A bit about, from a business perspective, why some of this legacy music is important to analyze today, and what re-entering some of this music into the marketplace can mean for a lot of these unsung heroes, songwriters, that if they weren't performers, if they weren't out in front, their names may not have been known.
Right. Well, what I love about, and again, specifically this box set, if you haven't heard it, here's the title, go find it. It's a brilliant history book. It's a brilliant history lesson. But again, I feel like I should break out the acoustic. Is that these songs are timeless. There's nothing nostalgic about it. That's what I love it. There's a lot of music we all like. We listen to, those of us that survived the 80s, you listen to that music, it sounds very nostalgic. Some stuff in the 70s sounds really nostalgic. When you hear these songs, especially at their roots, it's just like great literature. That's what gets me. And it's so important to have it out there. And my thing that I tell writers all the time, I'm all for burning it down. I'm all for starting over and a new generation starting from scratch and doing their thing, but I would say you can't change history unless you know history. And that's what a lot of people like, are just kind of coming with the attitude like, I want to burn it down, but they don't know really what they want to change, what they want to evolve from, where they want to grow from. And so this, to me, I mean, it's a completely, just going to this particular set, it's a completely joyful thing to listen to, but it's history. It's history, and it doesn't rely on nostalgia, it's just great songwriting. I think it's important to show people too, if you have the foundation, if your building has that foundation, it will last. It will not become dated. It will be around, and I think that's the lesson that comes from it, is these songs are not nostalgic. They're as lyrically timeless and as musically timeless as they were then.